Hey guys, good to talk to you again. We're going to be talking about area again today. Let's look at our lesson objective. Our lesson objective is 3.6c, and that's determine the area of rectangles using multiplication related to the number of rows times the number of units, squares in each row. And by the end of the lesson, we should be able to use the length and the width of a rectangle to find the area. And I can determine the area of a rectangle using multiplication. So I got a Khan Academy video here, a real good video about using multiplication to find the area.
I've got three rectangles here, and I also have their dimensions. I have their height and their width. And in fact, this one right here has the same height and width, so this is actually a square. So let's think about how much space they each take up on my screen. And since we're doing everything in terms of meters, since all of the dimensions are in meters, I'm going to measure the area in terms of square meters. So let's see how many square meters I can fit onto this yellow rectangle without going outside of its boundary and without overlapping. So I can fit 1 square meter. Remember, a square meter is just a square where its length is 1 meter and its width is 1 meter. So that's 1 square meter, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 square meters. So we see here that the area is 6 square meters. Area is equal to 6 square meters. But something might be jumping out at you. Did I really have to sit and count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6? You might have recognized that I could view this as really 2 groups of 3. Let me make that very clear. So for example, I could view this as 1 group of 3, 1 group of 3, and then another group of 3. Now, how did I get groups of 3? Well, that's because the width here is 3 meters. So I could put 3 square meters side by side. And how did I get the 2 groups? Well, it's 2 meters. This has a length of 2 meters. So another way that I could have essentially counted these 6 things is I could have said, look, I have a length of 2 meters, so I'm going to have 2 groups of 3. I'm going to have 2 groups of 3. So I could multiply 2 times 3, 2 times 3, 2 times 2 of my groups of 3, and I would have gotten 6. So I could, and you might say, hey, wait, is this just a coincidence that if I took the height, or if I took the length and I multiplied it by the width, that I get the same thing as its area? And no, it's not, because when you took the length, you essentially said, well, how many rows do I have? And then you say, when you multiply it by the width, you're saying, well, how many squares do I, or how many of these square meters can I fit into a row? So this is really a quick way of counting how many of these square meters you have. So you could say that 2 meters multiplied by 3 meters is equal to 6 square meters, is equal to 6 square meters. Now you might say, hey, I'm not sure if that always applies. Let's see if it applies to these other rectangles right over here. So based on what we just saw, let's take the length, 4 meters. Let's take the length, 4 meters, and multiply by the width, and multiply by 2 meters. 2 meters. Now 4 times 2 is 8. So this should give us 8 square meters. Let's see if this is actually the case. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and you see it's going in the right direction. 5, 6, 7, and 8. So the area of this rectangle is indeed 8 square meters. And you could view this as 4 groups of 2. So you could literally view this as 4 groups of 2. That's where the 4 times 2 comes from. So you could view it as 4 groups of 2 like this. Or you could view it as 2 groups of 4. So 1 group of 4 right over here. So you could view this as 2 times 4. And then 2 groups of 4. I'm going to draw it a little bit cleaner. Now, you could probably figure out what the area of this rectangle is. Actually a square because it has the same length and the same width. We multiply the length, 3 meters, times the width, so times 3 meters, to get 3 times 3 is 9. 9 square meters. 9 square meters. And let's verify it again, just to feel really good about this multiplying the dimensions of these rectangles. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. So it matches up. We figure out how many square meters can we cover this thing with without overlapping, without going to the boundaries. We get the exact same thing as if we multiplied 3 times 3. If we multiplied the length times the width in meters.
Okay, let's go ahead and look at this question together. It says, Kylie drew rectangles A, B, C, and D on grid below. Which rectangle has an area of 21 square units? So we're looking for the one that has 21 square units. So we'll go ahead and we'll check all of the rectangles. So we look at rectangle A first. And rectangle A, and we know that to calculate area, area is equal to length times width. So on these rectangles, since they're not gridded, the rectangles themselves, we don't see the grids on there. We're just going to go ahead and use the length and the width to go and calculate what the area of these rectangles are. So on rectangle A, I see that it is a length of 1, 2, 3. So I have a length of 3 units, and I have a width of 1, 2, 3, 4, length of 4. I know 3 times 4 is how I'm going to solve that. So 3 times 4. I know if I double 3, that's 6, and if I double 6, it's 12. So 3 times 4 equals 12, and that's 12 square units, and that's rectangle A. I'll write it in here, 12 square units. Go ahead and look at rectangle B, and rectangle B looks like it's a square because it looks like it has the same length and width, but we'll go ahead and double check to make sure. The length is 1, 2, 3, 4, and I have a width of 1, 2, 3, 4. So the math problem to solve the area of rectangle B would be 4 times 4. I know on 4s, I've just double it twice. If I double 4, that's 8, and if I double 8, that's 16. So rectangle B is 16 square units. That's 16 square units. Go ahead and look at rectangle C. Rectangle C has a length of 1, 2, 3, 4. So a length of 4. And a width of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So the math problem I'm going to use to figure the area of rectangle C is 4 times 7. Do my 4s again. If I double 7, I get 14. If I double 14, I get 28. So the area of rectangle C is 28 square units. That's 28 square units. And rectangle D, I'm assuming rectangle D is going to be our 21 square units because we haven't not come up 21 square units yet. So I know the length of rectangle D is 1, 2, 3. So rectangle D is, it's ugly D, sorry about that. D is 3 units. I'm going to multiply that by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So 3 times 7. If I double 7, I get 21. And if if I double 7, I get 14. And if I add 7 more to it, I get 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. So 3 times 7 is 21, and that would be my 21 square units. So 21 square units So D is 21 square units. So rectangle D is the one that equals 21 square units. So I'd circle rectangle D. Okay, we'll go ahead and look at this next question. It says, which dashed rectangle has an area of 49 square units? So this is kind of similar to the one we just did before this, except our squares are inside of it. Okay, but we could also go ahead and fill in the grids the rest of the way if we wanted to. We'll try that on one of them. We'll try that on F here. So I'm going to go ahead and just finish making the grids on here. And then all we really have to do is count. So just give you a different way to solve a problem. It's always nice to have a couple different ways of solving the problems. So you see I'm filling in. Sorry, it's a little bit squiggly there. I'm filling in and just filling in the rest of the squares right there. And then I could go through and start counting my squares. And I just put a dash mark every time I count it. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, and 42. So the rectangle F looks like it is 42 square units. Okay, and if you're taking a test, I would go through and double check it, count it twice, go through and count it twice. Make sure you get 42 both times, because typically third graders get distracted easily, and it's easy to get mess up a problem like this. So it'll always pay you to take a few extra minutes and count it twice. Okay, but really the easiest way to solve this would be to multiply. So I would go ahead and I count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So there's 6 rows, and I multiply that by how many are in each row. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So I could do 6 times 7. And if you're not really good with your multiplication facts, we could go ahead and figure out what is 5 times 7, because we know our 5s really well. And 5 times 7 is 35. And all I have to do now is figure out 1 times 7 is and add that to it. So that's basically just one more group of 7. And I add that together. That would be 12. And that would make it 42. So 42 square units is the area of rectangle F. We'll go ahead, we'll look at rectangle G. We'll go ahead and figure out what is the length. So we're going to say rectangle G. And the length is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So it's 7 by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, that's one of my square facts. That makes that a square. And that's one of the facts we try to memorize relatively quick. I know 7 times 7 is 49. So the area of that one is 49 square units. Kind of messy. Square units. So that looks like that may be the one that we're looking for. I'll put a question mark. I'm still going to check all the rest of my rectangles, just make sure I didn't make a mistake. So we'll look at rectangle H. Rectangle H has a length of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Be an easy multiplication fact for us. By 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 5 times 8. We know 5 times 8 is 40. So that would be 40 square units. So rectangle H is 40 square units. And J, we'll go ahead and check out J. Rectangle J. The length is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So 7 by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So 7 times 8. Remember we talked about this yesterday, I think it was. We say if you say 5, 6, 7, 8, just say so 7 times 8 equals 56. So that's one you have to kind of memorize. There's no real tricks other than memorizing this little 5, 6, 7, 8, because 5, 6, 7, 8 are all consecutive digits. And if you just go and put an equal sign between the 6 and the 7, put a multiplication sign between the 7 and 8, you can say 56 is equal to 7 times 8. So the rectangle that is 49 square units is rectangle G. Okay, question number 3 here says, Shelby has a bookmark with the dimensions shown below. So it looks like it's 12 inches by 3 inches. So what is the area of the bookmark in square inches? So I know to figure out area equals length times width. We'll say the length is 3 and the width is 12. So we do 3 times 12. A few different ways to do this. Typically in 3rd grade, we don't really memorize our 12 facts, but they're not too hard to figure out. We could go ahead and say 3 times 10 is 30. And then 3 times 2 is 6. So the area of that would be 36. That's square inches. Abbreviate square and inches. So the area of the bookmark is 36 square inches. Okay, we're going to look at these other answer choices here. I got 15 as one of the answers, and they probably put answer choice B there. 15 is if you added the 12 plus 3, because 12 plus 3 equals 15. So that's how they probably came up with that one, but that's not how we calculate area. Okay, answer choice C right here. Answer choice C could possibly be if they calculate the perimeter, if they try to calculate the perimeter. So to calculate perimeter, we add all sides. So that'd be 12 plus 12, which equals 24. And then 3 plus 3 equals 6. And then 6 plus 24 is 30. So that's probably how they got answer choice C. So if you wasn't paying close attention, you might have went ahead and said, well, maybe they're talking about perimeter on this question. That's the reason it's important to read the questions carefully, because a lot of times, like we said in some of our earlier lessons, that perimeter problems and area problems look very similar. So we need to make sure we read it carefully and understand what it's asking us to do, and we go ahead and solve for what it's asking us to do. And let's go ahead and look at some guided practice here. Okay, let's go ahead and look at this problem right here. It says, Ethan drew rectangles 1, 2, 3, and 4 on the grid below. Which rectangle has an area of 75 square units? So on this problem right here, it's important that we understand what the question is asking us, so we'll underline it. So which rectangle has an area of 75 square units? I would box in this word area right here, because that's telling me I need to do something. And I'm looking for one that's 75 square units. Area, what does area tell us? Yes, we know area is equal to length times width. So that means we're going to multiply on this problem. So we need to go ahead and figure out what the area of each one of these rectangles are. So rectangle number 1, what are the length and width of rectangle 1? Okay, yeah, let's look at it. That has a length of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So it has a length of 8. And that's by the width of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that's a pretty easy multiplication fact for us. We know 8 times 5 is 40. And that makes it 40 square units. 40 square units. Let's go ahead and look at rectangle 2. What's the length and width of rectangle 2? Yeah, that's correct. We know the length of it is the same length as rectangle 1 because they're drawn on grids right there. So it's 8 by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So what is 8 times 9? That's right, we can use our fingers to do our 9s. We got 5, 6, 7, 8. So 8 times 9 is, I got 7 on this side and 2 on this side, so that's 72. So rectangle 2 has an area of 72. That's square units. Rectangle 3. What's the length and width of rectangle 3? Yep, that looks like it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 has a length of 5. And the width looks like it is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. So it has a width of 15. So we'll do 5 times 15 to figure out what the area is. What is 5 times 15? Yep, you've seen I put a little line right here, so we'll make this a partial product multiplication problem. And that would be 5 by 10, because I put a little line here on the 10th grid right there. I know 5 times 10 is 50. And that leaves, since it's by 15, that leaves a length of 5, or a width of 5 and a length of 5, which leaves a square there. I know 5 times 5 is 25. So 50 plus 25 is 75. And that's square units. And that looks like that may be the one we're looking for. We're still going to check the rectangle 4, though. So rectangle 4, what's the length and width of rectangle 4? Okay, well, let's check and see if you're right. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. So it is 14 by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 by 6. So what is 14 times 6? Yep, you see I drew a line right there just like I did on rectangle 3, and we'll do the partial product way of doing this. So we know that is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 times 10 is 60. And that leaves 1, 2, 3, 4 times 6. And 4 times 6, I know if I double 6, it's 12. If I double 12, it's 24. So 4 times 6 would be 24. So if I want to figure out what, all I need to do now is add 60 and 24, and that would be 84. So rectangle 4 is 84 square units. Whoop. Square units. So the rectangle that we're looking for is rectangle 3 is 75 square units. Okay, which dashed rectangle has an area of 36 square units? So we're looking at, make sure we understand what the question's saying here. It says, which dashed rectangle has an area of 36 square units? So we're looking for area. And we remember area is equal to length times width. And something else we need to pay attention on this, it's talking about the dash part. And on the questions we were looking at before, the rectangle it's talking about is actually inside those grids that we did before. So we're looking for this part right here, the whole dashed in area. So we're going to go ahead and figure out what the area of rectangle A, B, C, and D is. So what is the length and width of rectangle A? Yes, it looks like the length is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So that's 6 by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 by 7. So what is 6 times 7? Okay, that sounds right, but what we can do is show you the trick on it. We've done it before on another problem. If I know what 7 times 5 is 35 and I add 7 more to it, 35 plus 7 is 42. So 6 times 7 is 42, and that's square units. Rectangle B. What is the length and width of rectangle B? Yeah, it looks like the length is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So it's got a length of 6 by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, what is 6 times 6? Yes, we can do our sixes trick on that. If I know what 5 times 6 is, 5 times 6 is 30. All I need to do is add one more group of 6 to it, and that makes 36. And that's 36 square units. Okay, what is the length and width of rectangle C? Yep, that's correct. It is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So it's 7 by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. See, that makes a square. We're pretty good with our square facts. So what is 7 times 7? That's right. 7 times 7 is 49. And that's 49 square units. So rectangle C is 49 square units. What is the area of rectangle D? Or what is the length and width of rectangle D? Okay, yeah, let's look. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So it's 7 by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So what is 7 times 5? 7 times 5 is 35. And that's square units. And so we're looking for the one that is 36. It looks like rectangle B is 36 square units. So rectangle B is the one that we're looking for. Okay, it says, look at rectangle 1, 2, 3, and 4 on the grid below. Which rectangle has an area of 56 square units? So we need to make sure we're looking closely. And we're looking for which rectangle has an area of 56 square units. So area and 56 square units. When we're talking about square units, we know we're talking about area. And we know area is equal to length times width. So we need to figure out what the length and width of all 4 rectangles are, and then multiply that to figure out the area of the rectangles. So what is the length and width of rectangle 1? That's correct. Remember, the length is going to be the right here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And the width is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So what is 5 times 7? That's correct. 5 times 7 is 35. We know our 5 facts real well, and that's going to be 35 square units. Rectangle 2. What is the length and width of rectangle 2? Yep, that's correct. It is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. So it's 9 by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So what is 9 times 7? Yes, we can use our fingers on that one again. So 9 times 7, that's 5, 6, 7. 9 times 7 is 63. 63. So 9 times 7 is 63. And that would be 63 square units. Okay, rectangle 3. What is the length and width of rectangle 3? That's right. It is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So it's 6 by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. What is 6 times 7? That's correct. We've done this enough. We should remember that 6 times 7 is 42. Because we said 5 times 7 is 35 plus 7 is 42. That's 42 square units. 42 square units. So, rectangle 4, our last rectangle. What is the length and width of rectangle 4? That's correct. It is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So what is 7 times 8? 7 times 8 is 56. And that's square units. And remember, if we do 5, 6, 7, 8, we know 56 is equal to 7 times 8. You see the numbers are 5, 6, 7, 8. They're all consecutive numbers. And we know 7 times 8 is 56, or 8 times 7, the community property, that is 56. So the rectangle that is 56 square units is rectangle 4, which is answer choice J. Okay, it's time again to go and complete your independent practice. Go ahead and take your time and do your very best. There'll be a PDF that you can print out if you want to work out the problems on a pencil and paper, and then go ahead and go to the blue puzzle piece with today's date on there, and go ahead and submit your answers in Schoology that way. If you have any questions, of course, email your teacher or send them a message in Schoology. If something's not working the way you think it should, or you don't understand one of the concepts that we've went over today or any of the previous days, please feel free to give them a call. And just like always, take your time, do your very best, and best of luck to you, and we'll talk to you later.